One hog, two hog, three hog, four hog, five hog, six hog, seven hog, eight hog, nine hog, 10 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 hog.
Hello, everybody. This is Noel the Red Devil here. Of course, another day as a Manchester United fan. More drama. Apparently, there are more infighting. Erik Ten Hag signings have been questioned, and we will do a short little preview of the Bayern Munich game. But just before I come on, and this is one of the reasons why I back our manager. It has been reported right now by journalists that our manager wanted a win, but apparently Richard Arnold and the other gobshite thought it was not worth spending the money on a 29-year-old. Now, while I do agree with that assessment personally, what worries me is the fact that Richard Arnold and co are basically, or what it seems to me is, if Erik Ten Hag is suggesting any players, they're basically standing in the way of what he wants to bring in. Now, these are the two same gobshites that spent all last summer chasing Frankie de Jong and came home empty-handed. So that's been what's reported lately. The squad has travelled to Bayern Munich. We will talk about that in a little bit. There's a few absentees, as you would imagine. But Erik Ten Hag, there seems to be someone leaking stuff in Manchester United, and I don't like that for starters anyway. But someone has leaked that they are not really sure about the signings that Erik Ten Hag has made, because his agent apparently has been offering players to manager. Now, this is a practice that goes on in the modern game and did actually go on with certain managers. If you look at Jose Mourinho, there's a particular agent that he dealt with, his own agent, and players that his agent owns. So that's nothing new, but John Murtough and Richard Arnold getting involved in transfer business is none of that. I mean, negotiating, yes, but it's not your job to tell the manager, oh, well, we don't think you should buy that player because he's 29 years of age. Now, what I do agree with that assessment, because I didn't want Harry Kane. I got to be honest, a lot of you will think I'm crazy, but I didn't want him for the price that Tottenham were selling him for. I didn't think he was worth that money for the price that they were selling him for the last year of his contract, right? But the fact that Richard Arnold and the other gobshite are making those decisions is very worrying indeed. And this is another reason why I back the manager, because I know every manager under the Glazers, right? Everybody always speaks about the money that Manchester United have spent on players, right? And they say, well, the manager has been backed, but he hasn't been backed. Not in the right way. Not with the players that each manager wanted. We knew the players that Jose Mourinho wanted to bring in. Did the Glazers bring in any of the players that Jose Mourinho wanted? Absolutely not. They got his second or his third or even his fourth choice. And it seems to be the same way that they've done business. Now, to all those Manchester United fan accounts out there that are starting to report this whole, oh, the Erik Ten Hag is a worrying trend. Well, yous don't help matters by reporting on a small minority of this fandom who are pissed off with Erik Ten Hag, A, because he didn't put Mason Greenwood back into the team because of the fan backlash, right? 2, because they blame him for the Jadon Sancho stuff, and because he got rid of Ronaldo, and because of that Harry Maguire stuff and all of this, right? There's fans just waiting on an excuse, just like the media are, to have their manager sacked. And you bigger channels are not helping the situation by highlighting these gobshites. What you should do is you should be ignoring them, right? And talk about the real issues that are going on with their club rather than a few gobshites online just want a bit of fucking credibility or grifting, right? The manager took over a team that was an absolute shambles last year, and he turned us into a half-decent side, I would say, that won a trophy, right? It fell apart at the end of the season. There's a lot of contributing factors to that. Injuries, fitness of players, the fact that a lot of our players were off form, and it seems to have carried into this new season. But again, was the manager back the way he wanted to be back this summer? I would have to say no. We were told in the media also, right, and people that were leaking stuff to the media, oh, Manchester United will need to sell players before they could bring in any new players. So we knew all of this. Now there's fan accounts out there and the usual suspects reporting on bullshit. These are saying that we're going to be buying this player, that player, and that player. But we couldn't even buy Amrabat. We had to get him on loan. Right? So how are we buying players when we didn't have the money to buy Amrabat permanently? We had to get him on loan. See, it's bullshit talk from bullshit fans, right? The only way that any deals are going to be done in January is if they're loans. Now, that changes if the latest rumour, and again, I don't listen to this takeover stuff anymore, even if it comes from Bloomberg's or Reuters, right? They've all had egg on their face when it comes to this. But apparently the latest is that everything is actually proceeding behind the scenes, but nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody's staying silent on it. I've never heard such bullshit in all my life, right? And every time Man United fans, hook, line and sinker, buy this bullshit. The club will be sold when the club is sold, end the fucking story. But what we should be worried about now, right now, and our focus should be on the Glazers and what's happening with our club, right? Because it's an absolute shambles from top to bottom, right? With players revolting, right? Now, apparently the infighting has been denied, but apparently the players that were involved were Bruno Fernandes, apparently was having a go at Scott McTominay, and apparently Martinez was having a go at Lindelof. In fairness, I got to say it to you all, right? Not you two players that were apparently giving out the captain, right? You can't say that, and you were shit as well the weekend, right? Yous were all crap the weekend, all right? So yous all need to take accountability for yous performance, because yous got fully bleeding steamrolled by Brighton at home, right? It'd be different if it was away from home, because we know Brighton are great away at home, right? But the fact that Brighton, right, for 17 minutes, it was United, right? And then after 17 minutes, it was like, I don't know what happened. The switch switched, and that was it. You just gave up, especially after the first goal going. So even if there was infighting, I'll say to you all, including Bruno, you're the captain, right? You did not perform to your best of your ability the weekend, right? So you cannot be flinging mud at other players. You are all responsible for that result against Brighton, and you all want to hang your heads in shame for it as well. Now, I know that this team can have bad performances. I know that you can have a bad start to the season. It seems to be a trend with this team. But get your act together now, right? 5 games in, you've got a huge game tomorrow, right? I expect you to get beaten 5-0 tomorrow. That's my score prediction. I don't even expect you to go over to Munich and even put up much of a fight. That's why I'm hoping that Erik ten Hag, and apparently he has introduced some of the young lads into the team. We will talk about that now in a minute. But I would bench you all. I'd bench Bruno. I'd bench you all, every single one. Rashford, I'd bench him, right? I'd play Garnacho and Pellistri out on the wings, play Haaland up front, right? We probably would need to keep Bruno on because the midfield is pretty weak if he's not in there. But I'd mix it up. If Amrabat is fit, which we will find out now in a minute because I haven't looked. I was waiting on Erik ten Hag's press conference. I don't know what the story is with the Champions League press conference. Unless I've missed it, it's gone under the radar, but I've checked YouTube several times and it still hasn't come up. Thomas Tuchel's one has come up, but I haven't seen our manager's press conference. But they've got a big game tomorrow, right? And if we go 1-0 down, their heads are going to fucking drop. It's at least with the kids. The kids will keep battling. And look, I don't expect the kids to go over there and perform some miracle and for us to win. But I know one thing that the kids will do. When they put this fucking jersey on, they'll play for the badge. They'll play for passion. They'll give fucking everything for it. Let's see, we got a couple of people in the chat. There are some fans who want to tear it all down. True, it's a collective. Exactly, I'm sick of it. I back me manager, and I'm backing me manager because I know it's not him. He is not the root of this situation. The root of all our problems has always been the same fucking people. And fans, and I have seen some journalists, and fair play to, I think Henry Winter is one, who has urged Man United fans to not direct their anger at Erik Ten Hag, but to direct it where it should be directed, at the owners. Absolutely joke how our club is being run. Kobe Mainu has been seen training. Mason Mount has been seen training. And Amrabat, apparently they're doing individual training. Whether that means they will be actually in the squad, which I'm going to tell you now what the squad is that travelled. But Kobe Mainu, which is good news because for me, pre-season, listen, that kid is impressive. If he hadn't got injured, I think we'd be... I'm not saying that the results would be different this season, but that kid has something, and I think he'd add something to the team. People were talking about players like Gore and Forson and stuff like that. I'd put them in. I'd put them in ahead of all of these players that have let us down time and time again. I'm just sick and tired of it. You know, I don't care if we get beaten tomorrow if we put the fucking effort in. But we know as soon as we concede one goal, a lot of these players' heads are just going to drop and they're going to be moaning at each other and it's going to get worse. And we're going to be looking at a big scoreline tomorrow. Now, the Bayern Munich game is a historical game, though. This could go two ways. The way that I've explained it just now, or it can go the other way. We go over there and we prove to the world that Manchester United is truly back, and we beat them in their own backyard, which we've never done, right? And we pull out a massive performance out of somewhere. These players get it, it clicks, and then we push on for the rest of the season, right? That's the other scenario, but I think it's going to be the other one, right? And then what's going to happen is we're going to spiral even more out of control, and, you know, the manager, if results keep going the wrong way, that small minority will keep shouting and shouting and shouting. And before you know it, we've lost another manager. And all because of our owners not backing them as usual. Now, this is why I'm late. I've actually got another stream at 6, so I have to keep an eye on the channel right now. I'll keep an eye on the clock. So here is the squad who has travelled to Bayern. So the goalkeepers, Bannon there, and then the shop now thing pops up. Tom Heaton, Andre Onana, and Radek Vitek. Oh, we kept him. I thought we sold him. Defenders, Victor Lindelof, Martinez, Reguilon, Delot, and Johnny Evans. No Maguire. Maguire apparently there's an injury issue or something. Midfielders, Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen, Casemiro, Pellistri, Scott McTominay, Dan Gore, and Hannibal. So no Amrabat in the team again. So there you go. No Amrabat. So we went and bought 2 injured players this transfer window. Forwards, Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, Ramos Højlund, Garnacho and Forson. We are getting beaten 5 or 6-0 tomorrow night, and it's not even funny. Now, in fairness, there's 11 players injured, but we've got to ask, why is there 11 players injured? And I do think it's affected United because we've had a lot of games, but other teams have had a lot of games as well. Chelsea have a lot of injuries actually as well. But I do think the World Cup, and I do think the long pre-season, because we had a pretty long pre-season. Actually, we had a couple of matches where we played 2 games in a row, where we played 1 game and then the next day we were playing another game. Now, granted, he switched between experienced players and youth and all, but that does take its toll. And I think he has, and the coaching staff have been overtraining these players. And I think a lot of the players now are suffering and are breaking down in training and stuff. And we're seeing the result. I mean, I counted up the amount of games that we played all together with the behind the door games that we had. We played 9 or 10 games before the season had even started. So, I mean, you know, that's what third of the campaign done pre-season. So I don't know what the thinking was behind. Maybe he wanted to get the fitness levels up, but it's had a detrimental effect on our players and on our squad. Thankfully, there are a few coming back from injuries, which will help alleviate. But tomorrow's game, we're getting hammered. There's no doubt about it. That squad is not beating Bayern Munich. We'd be lucky if we come out of there with a 1-0 defeat. That's how. And listen, I always go into a Champions League campaign thinking we could do something because we used to be able to do stuff. But we'd be lucky if we get out of this group. And apparently Richard Arnold and John Murtough think that the signings that they've made will miraculously all click together and everything will be fine. They're living on planet deluded land. We wanted Frankie de Jong. We go out and get fucking Christian Eriksen and whoever else. I mean, it's an absolute joke. Don't get me wrong. Christian Eriksen on a free was a great deal to do. But when you don't go out and actually get the players that the manager wants, how do you expect them to do well the second season? And he's not. He's not. We're in for a long, hard season. You know, I had so much optimism at the start because of our pre-season. Even though we had a couple of defeats, I thought we could throw. We're playing different football as well than pre-season. That's what I don't get. We completely changed their style of football. So I don't get it. But look, I'm backing the manager. I'm sticking with the manager because at the end of the day, it's not the manager's fault. And where he has brought us, and, you know, the fact that he won a trophy in his first season, you know, and I know it is only the Carabao Cup, and people will say it's not a real cup. But for where we were the season before and to where he's brought us, and now fans are asking for him to be sacked after 5 games, you ought to be on. Yeah, I'm telling you, there's something seriously wrong with us, right? There's something seriously wrong with us. He's not perfect. He has got things wrong. Sure, he got things wrong over the weekend. But hey, managers make mistakes. So great Alex Ferguson never got everything right. He never got everything right. The thing about it is, like Alex Ferguson, I expect their manager to learn from his mistakes. And, you know, he did last season. And I am pretty sure he will this season. Of course, if he continues to make mistakes and stuff like that, then we will question him. But for now, 5 games in, I think everybody's jumping the gun here. You know, but, you know, the Champions League could be the kickstart that Man United needs. You know, that competition could kickstart their season if we get a result. Look, I will take a draw right now, right? I don't think we're capable of winning it, but I'll take a draw right now. But I will say this, Bayern Munich and not firing on all cylinders right now, and they have their own injuries also. So there is an opportunity here. If the lads can actually get their act together, there is an opportunity for us to get some sort of result. But I don't expect it. But fingers crossed we do. And I will be here for that Champions League game, folks. So come and join me. Let's hope it's a good game. I'm pretty sure it'll be a good game. I just hope. See, for us, we got to get the first goal, I believe. You know, we even said it in the Brighton game. If United get the first goal, we might do something here, but it didn't happen. So we got to wait and see. Anyway, 15 minutes until I stream over on my main channel. That's where I do all the geeky stuff and all of that entertainment. Obviously, you football fans probably won't be interested in that, but I'm over there. But look, listen, thanks for listening. And we will be back tomorrow for that big game. I'll throw the stream up later on. I'm just working. I do my own little. I try to do my own little wallpapers now, or not wallpapers. What do you call them? Covers. No, not covers. There's a word for it. Thumbnail. Yeah, I do my own thumbnail. So I'm gonna get. I've got the old Champions League Cup and all there and stuff, and got a few pictures to put around the border and stuff like that. And that'll be for the Bayern Munich game tomorrow. So yeah, come and join us. Big game. I'm not, fingers crossed. I'll be obviously more nervous as it gets closer to the game, but I'm not holding out much hope, but we'll see what happens. Miracles do happen. This could be the game that kickstarts our season, or this is the game that, well, obviously, if we lose, it makes it worse. But this could be the one that could send the whole season into a spiral, a downward spiral. And I don't want to see that. We won't get relegated, of course. We're too big of a club to get relegated. But I'll tell you something. These players will want to get their finger out of their backsides and start, respecting this jersey because, there's only so much fans can take. Anyway, we'll be back for the match. I'll probably start coverage at 7:30 when the team news is in and we know who he's putting on. So join me from 7:30 tomorrow. Big Champions League game. So yeah, until then, talk to you soon. Bye bye.